Hello, Flourish family. I'm going to get our link to this and add it to the Flourish group real quick. So if you'll bear with me looking at my dashboard, what we're going to discuss tonight is setting up Google Analytics on WordPress and setting up Google Search Console, formerly known as Google Webmaster Tools, and hooking the two together and using the data that they both provide in order to help establish our target market. Now, the obvious benefits here are SEO benefits. What we are doing is some pretty foundational SEO stuff. But in addition to that, the data that you are able to get for search queries to your site helps you understand how people are finding you and your website. So I'm posting our link. The thing about using Hangouts on Air for this is that I am presenting live to the group, but once I get it, I don't get the link until after I start recording. So right. Okay, now we are at my little coloring book site because I find it handy for demonstration, which is fabulous. Now, there are approximately 1,000 plugins that you can use for this. And don't do what I do and never update your stuff on your old sites. I am using Google Analyticator, and I'm using Google Analyticator because I have been using it for something like 8 years, and it's still in development, and it's super simple. All it does is add the script for Google Analytics to your WordPress site. Now, starting at the beginning, if you don't already have an account with Google, like a Gmail address, you're going to need one. So you can sign up for that. If you already have a Gmail address, go to analytics.google.com, sign up, and now you're going to see that I manage a ton of properties on my analytics site. And they change the interface a lot, so I'm not always entirely clear on where I'm going. But Coloring Book Patterns is the site that I have added. And Google gives you a little UID when you add a site. And it's that little UID that you use to get your tracking code right here, tracking ID, UA462486-12. Or it gives you a little script that you can insert into your theme code. I suggest putting it in the header or the footer, either in the header before the closing head tag or in the footer just before the closing body tag. Now, when you use a plugin like Analyticator, it's going to generally just ask you for that UID right here. But because this is a little confusing even for me, let's start at the beginning and let's see if I've got something. Yeah, I do. Okay. A site that we can add new. So I keep my sites grouped together. And I want to put it in the Brianna.org group because that's my personal stuff. And I want to, in the second column, create a new property. And I've already created 11 out of 50. It's crazy. Okay, what would you like to track? We're going to track a website. Up the property. Your website name. I have a little website for my little market garden. So we'll set that up. It caters to exactly 15 people in a very small geographical area, so I've never bothered to set up analytics. Industry category, food and drink. Reporting time zone, I'm in Central Time. All right, now I get my tracking ID. And I'm probably going to have to figure out a way to, okay, so we're back to the screen that we've already seen. So keep this, go to your plugins, go to add new, search plugins, search for Analyticator. That's easy to spell. Anticator. That will get you exactly where you want to go, or not. Spelled it wrong. Analytics is a word that never looks right after you've been looking at it for a few minutes. Here it is. Google Analyticator by SumoMe. Over 400,000 active installs. So go ahead and install it. SumoMe is reputable. They keep their stuff up to date. Their stuff is secure. And also, as I mentioned, this is a tiny, tiny, tiny plugin. All it does is embed your tracking ID into your site so that it's logging on every page. And when you go to your basic settings, you can enable it. You can see it shows me all of my properties. It even shows me Train Song Farm, even though I just added it. Tracking code, just do universal. Make sure you've changed your account to a universal analytics property. If it's a new property in analytics, it's already going to be universal, so you're fine. All right, and then everything else, leave as the default and click Save Changes. Now when you go to your dashboard for your website, it'll show you a summary of your traffic. As you can see, this coloring book site is hugely popular, and those 6 visits from the last month were probably not all entirely me, except that they probably were all entirely me. Okay, so there's step 1. We've now set up analytics. You're going to need 24 hours or so before you start seeing real data. And there is a ton of data that is going to be available to you, which is great. Google Analytics will even show you the data that they're hiding from you, which is like the primary keywords that people are using to find your site. Let me check this. Okay, we're still recording. If you have questions, add them in the Flourish group. Don't post them in Google Hangouts because I tend to not see them. Or I don't see them until way after the fact. So this was step 1. And the primary reason that this is a very just how to set it up in WordPress is because this data takes a little time to collect. Step 2 is we're going to go to what was formerly known as Google Webmaster Tools, but is now called Google Search Console. However, go to google.com, search for Google Webmaster Tools. The link is google.com/webmasters/tools. Go there. You can sign in with your existing Google account, and then we're going to hook up a property. And I haven't put the coloring book site in here yet, so that's the property we're going to hook up. Select the type of property you would like to manage. Website. Enter your URL, and then it's going to verify your ownership of the website. The easiest way to do that is with Google Analytics. So you have to be using the asynchronous tracking code, which you are through Analyticator. Your tracking code should be in the head section of your web page. Okay, I take back what I said. If you're adding the snippet to your theme yourself, don't put it in the footer. Put it in the head section of your web page before the closing head tag. In most theme files, that'll be in header.php. And you must have the edit permission for the analytics web property. If you are the owner, and you are, if you're following these instructions, you will have that permission, so no problem. Let's verify. Let's see if it can find me. Hey, it did. This makes it much easier. Set up analytics first. and it'll automatically hook you up through the Search Console. I don't know why, well, I do know why they rebranded. Webmasters Tools is a very general name considering that all of these tools are really search oriented. And what we are going to use them for, especially in this section, you may only use analytics to see how many visitors you're getting in a day, and that's fine. But hook up Webmaster Tools because this is a much cleaner interface. It is a much easier way to see how people are finding you. Now, Google, in this tool, Google gives you the ability to really, really massage your content, really understand your content, understand how Google sees your site, which is enormous. It gives you the ability to fetch new content as Google. So if you want something to be indexed faster, come here and ask Google to fetch it. It shows you traffic data, but it doesn't confuse the heck out of you like analytics does. It just confuses a little bit of the heck out of you. Not you specifically, I'm talking about me. Remember, I am a web professional. I have been doing this for 20 years. The problem is all websites are different. You memorize things and Google updates these interfaces a lot. So I frequently have to relearn what I'm doing as I come in. So I'm going to expand all of these wonderful menu items. Let me check and make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Let me check Flourish real quick and make sure that everybody can see me. Okay. Everyone can see me. No problem. I'm going to answer a question real quick. Okay, I know it takes a few minutes to get caught up, guys. Just for those who are just joining us, we have created an analytics account and hooked up the Google Analyticator plugin with our Google Analytics tracking ID. Then we have gone to Google Search Console, which is at google.com/webmasters/tools. And we've logged in, and then we've verified that we are the owner of our site. We've gone to add a new property, put in our URL. Because we have analytics set up, it says, okay, you definitely own that. That's hooked up to your account. And now we're just looking at the dashboard for this new site. Now, the first step is to submit a sitemap. Oh no, do I have a sitemap? I don't know. It depends on how you've structured your WordPress site. If you're starting at just the beginning, go install Yoast. Okay, if you're starting at the beginning, go install Yoast SEO. Let's go look at it. You watched me update it so that I wouldn't look like such a slacker. It's on version 3.25. One warning about Yoast is that they are pushing their premium version of this plugin and they keep pulling out free features and turning them into paid features. But they are hugely well supported in the WordPress community and they do give you fundamental tools for easy SEO. So Yoast SEO, Y-O-A-S-T, go install that in your site. And then once it's installed, go to SEO in the left-hand menu, go to XML sitemaps. Okay, you can find your XML sitemap here, and there's a button. Click the button, there's your sitemap. As you can see, my site's pretty tiny. Grab that URL, which is going to be your domain name /sitemap_index.xml. Go back to Google Search Console. Click on Sitemaps. Add/test a sitemap. Oh, it's putting in the URL for me, so delete that and just copy in this little piece right here, sitemap_index.xml. Then submit it. And refresh the page. And there's your sitemap. Okay. There's a menu item where Google says, why submit a sitemap? Basically, at every opportunity, Google, the search engine, gives you the chance to tell Google what you want it to see. And that's pretty overwhelming if you're not a developer and you're just trying to build your website. But as we learn these tools, we can take each opportunity we're given to tell Google what it is we want them to see. Now with the sitemap, I didn't really modify anything. I didn't even really look at it. But this index file contains five sitemaps, one for my posts, one for my pages, one for my products, one for my category, and one for my post tags. This is the default. This is because I haven't told Yoast what I want it to show Google. If I go in and massage this, I really just want Google to see these top three. I want it to see my post, my page, and my product. That's for me. That's because I'm not doing a ton of focused keywords. I'm mostly just selling a single product on the site. However, the category and the post tag sitemaps right there, that gives you Etsy level keyword targeting abilities, because now if you've named your post categories correctly and they include your keywords, if you're tagging your posts and tagging your products like you are doing because you started out selling on Etsy before you moved to your site, this is where all that gets indexed. And that's great. So now Google's seeing it. Now Google's seeing what you think your keywords are. Very handy. On the flip side of all of that, sorry, I have to find my tabs. I walked through this. I like doing it live so you guys can ask me questions while I'm working, but I do actually rehearse these before I go into it, so I have all my tabs open. Now, as I mentioned before, it's going to take probably 48 hours for Google to start filling in Search Console with data. That doesn't mean that Google doesn't have the data already. If your site's already been indexed and you're already showing up in search engines, Google has the data. It's just going to take a while to get into Search Console. I'm going to give you a brief overview of these tools, but there's one specific thing that I think is hugely helpful for when you're trying to target your market. You've already identified your target market and you're really good at your keyword research and all of that good stuff. Google's going to tell you how people are finding you when they search. And we'll switch to another site so that we can see some data. But okay, this is good. And I know analytics gives you that information. And this is a great opportunity for you to look at the discrepancies between the two. Because analytics is going to show you different keywords that people are searching on than Google Search Console. And I'm sure there are a lot of reasoned and professional responses to that. But personally, I just say collect all the data you can and use it. All the tools are different. Let's just take the data we're given and use it. Trainsong Farm is the site we're looking at. On my farm website, I sell at a local farmer's market. I sell seedlings in the month of May. That's it. Once a year, I sell seedlings. The difference between me and most of the people at the farmer's market is that I sell my seedlings online through WooCommerce. And then I bring a little square chip on my phone, a little square reader to the farmer's market. And so people can order on the website and pick up at the market, or they can just buy in person. But I use Square for inventory so that when they buy in person, my inventory is automatically updated in WooCommerce. That's fantastic. So that said, you know, my business model for that is highly targeted. I don't really pay attention to my keywords, but I do know what kind of things I post about. People love springtime on the farm, and I post a lot about all the baby animals, and I post about the baby seeds. And so this is how people are finding me. And you can see they're not clicking. They're finding other things that are filling their needs better, but I'm getting more, you know, searches for things like lemon balm seedlings. Hold on one second. Okay. Lavender seedlings, which were a huge hit for me last year. Honey Ohe. These are all things that I grow. And then I have a few posts about how I named my farm. You want to use this to see how people are finding you. You want to use this after you have gone to search appearance and you have walked through each of these items. Well, except for accelerated mobile pages, don't worry about that yet. And really worked on how Google is seeing your data. The structured data tools, and we want to use the data highlighter. Okay. Data highlighter lets you take posts from your site and it lets you show off your data in search. And as time goes on, Google gets really precise about this. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Just as a tip, you'll see some information about using Google Plus or how you used to be able to set up an author profile and now you can't anymore and blah, blah, blah. Basically, the rule of thumb is that if Google gives you an opportunity to give them information, even if they're no longer using it, then give them that information. That's going to be used even if you don't see it in search. So they used to have the pretty author profiles and search results, and then they took them away, and that really upset a lot of people. Give Google all the information it asks for. If they show it to us or if they don't show it to us, it feeds into their algorithm. So what this data highlighter lets you do is tag your pages, and show off your pages are structured. And it's type of information to highlight: articles, book reviews, events, local businesses, movies, products, restaurants, software applications, TV episodes. And we'll see if it can bring it up. If not, we'll switch back to coloring book patterns. Okay, well, for some reason it's not picking up my style sheet, but okay, that's fine. We still can see my content, my navigation, not my Instagram photos. Yeah, it's not picking up my style sheet, which is a little bit weird, but okay. So already I've selected local business. I can put in the name, the address, the telephone. So I'm going to highlight the name. I'm going to highlight the county as the address. I don't have the telephone number on here, so I probably should have chosen the page where I have that, the Get in Touch page, but that's okay. This is just a demo. Telephone, opening hours. We'll see if it lets me edit telephone elsewhere. An image, a URL. The ratings are important. If your WooCommerce product pages allow ratings, tell Google where to find those, because Google's displaying them in Search Now and Google's displaying them on Google Shop. So that's huge. So we'll just say, I'm going to give it a telephone number. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like 432 farm or something like that. 432. Let's check the keypad. 3276. Okay. All right. That's all of the required info for local business. Now I can click done. I can choose similar pages and create a page set, which I probably want to do from the shop pages. That's true. The pattern does not include the start pages, so. Okay, so we do want that to be a single page resource, a single page source. Instead of a page set. So essentially, choose a single page source, highlight your data. then Google's going to create rich cards based on the data you highlight to improve your look in search. And you can see the rating here, the number of reviews. That's a big deal. If you go to HTML improvements, Google will tell you if your site needs some improvement, if you've got duplicate content, which it hates. That's a big deal to the search algorithm. If you're missing important things. Google hasn't detected any content issues with my site. I just use a really simple theme. I'm not going to pretend like it's because I'm amazing. I have other sites where it doesn't like the micro formats that I use. And, you know, as with everything, SEO is not a big old magical mystery, but don't panic and think that every rule is set in stone. I know a lot of people install Yoast and they think if they get the little red light on their content that they've broken their whole site, and that's not at all the case. Some blog posts are going to be, you know, just bonus value for your customer. They're not always going to have the perfect long tail keywords in them. So site links are automatically generated links that may appear under your site's search results. We've all seen those. This is how you do it. I don't know why it didn't come up when I clicked the link. But, okay, so when you come up in search, and it's like some sites have their whole navigation in their search box, that's amazing. This is how you do it. This is where you set it up. You use site links under search appearance. So for this search result at Train-Song Farm at the shop, I can set up what I want it to see, and if I don't want it to appear as a site link, I can demote it here. So if I have like extra info or info that's so targeted to location that it's not useful in a global search, I can demote it. This is a really granular, useful tool. Accelerated mobile pages is not relevant for what we are doing. Don't worry about it. Okay, so we have set up our search appearance. We have structured our data with the data highlighter. Rich cards, that's a lot like Open Graph. I've covered that in other presentations. If you have questions about it, ask in the chat. I will send you links to slides and plugins that help you set that up. Search traffic. We've gone over how it tells you which keywords people are using to find you and whether or not they're actually clicking through when you show up in search results, which is usually helpful. Who's linking to you and from where. You can see I added the indexes, and so some people are actually finding us from there. It shows you your internal links and how you're backlinking to your own content. Manual actions, I've never really dug into what those are. I'm not doing anything about web spam, so international targeting is not relative for me, but this is a micro format that you can handle with plugins if you want to switch languages, add Google's language preferences to your website. Mobile usability, it's going to give you a grade basically on if people are able to see your stuff on mobile. Google Index, are you indexed on the site? How many pages are indexed? This is all good. Content keywords, it's going to show you what you talk about the most. So this isn't how people find you. This is essentially if you only look at two tools in Google Search Console, set up your site links, use the data highlighter to structure your search result, look at how people are finding you from search traffic, and look at how you're presenting yourself, whether intentionally or otherwise. I use the word farm a lot. I mention seedlings and seedling a lot. I do talk about babies because it, like I said, springtime, baby animals, that's what it's all about. Is anything blocked? No. Fabulous. If you've got 404s, if you've got crawl errors, Google's going to tell you. This site is super simple. My main website, technosiren.com, has a ton of crawl errors due to an issue with multi-site. So I can show you what it looks like when this is all blown up. But Google gives you the ability to fix it here and tell it where it should look, which is amazing. fetches Google. This is how you tell Google, hey, I've added new content, go fetch it and show it to me. And Google says, oh, we don't have this in our search index yet, let's add it. So this is how you force an index of a web page. Robots.text tester, by default, if you haven't added a plugin to manipulate that in WordPress, then this is basically an on-off switch in WordPress, whether or not you're allowing indexing. We already know you are because we've gone to Google Index and it says your index. Sitemaps, we've added our sitemaps to coloring book patterns. URL parameters, we're not using any, so nothing to worry about. And that is your top level, super speedy walkthrough of Google Search Console. And I am going to turn this off and start answering questions. Don't feel overwhelmed. This is a massive tool that you only need little bits and pieces of. And the purpose of this demonstration was to make sure you could add it to your site and set it up easily in your site, which I can walk through one more time if that would make things a little better. It's just that I have to find, oh yeah. There we go, there we go. Go to plugins, go to add new, add Google Analyticator right here, view details. And I will put links to this in our discussion in Flourish. So Analyticator, super tiny plugin. If you're setting up a new Google Analytics account, you're going to go to add property from your Google account at analytics.google.com. Click add property, give it the URL. It's going to give you a tracking ID. The tracking ID is all you need to insert into Google Analyticator so that Analyticator can put it into all of your web pages through WordPress. If you want to add it manually, this is the snippet. Put that in the head of your HTML code, which is usually found in header.php. Once you've done that, you can go to Google Search Console. You can add a property by adding the URL. When you add it, it's going to verify it through your Google Analytics snippet, and it's going to add it to your dashboard here, so you can see all of my little properties here. Check this frequently. If you're working on this stuff often, I check it about once a month because it'll give you messages. If it can't find something, if something is now 404'd, if it can no longer access code, sometimes you're going to update plugins and it's going to block access to something. Google's going to be right on top of it. And that's it. I'm available for questions. I just need to go find my screen so I can stop the broadcast. Thank you guys for checking in with me today. Bye.